digital display on the bedside table shifts silently from 3:44 to 3:45. I am already awake, my eyes open to the familiar, cool darkness of the room, my internal clock synchronized perfectly with the rhythm of the shift. There is no jarring alarm, no desperate scramble for the snooze button. There is only the quiet transition from rest to readiness. I slide the duvet back. The sheets are soft, cool cotton, whispering against my skin as I move. I sit up and place my feet on the floor. The hardwood is solid and cold, a grounding sensation that signals the beginning of the operational cycle. I stand and stretch, feeling the vertebrae align. A slow, deliberate expansion of the chest and shoulders. The house is silent. The world outside is silent. This is the hour of stillness, the time before the chaos of the morning rush, a private window of existence where I can be purely methodical. I move to the bathroom. The tile floor is cooler than the wood, crisp against my soles. I turn the faucet handle. The water flows clear and steady. I splash it onto my face, the temperature shocking the last remnants of sleep from my system. I pat my face dry with a thick towel, the fabric rough and invigorating. I apply shaving cream, working the lather into a thick white foam. The razor is heavy in my hand, a precision instrument. I pull the skin taut. The blade glides over the contours of my jaw, removing the stubble with a satisfying, rasping friction. One pass, rinse. Another pass, rinse. The result is smooth, clean, professional. I am preparing the surface, removing the variables. I walk to the closet. My uniform is hung with care. The fabric, a sturdy, fire-resistant blend that feels substantial to the touch. I step into the trousers. They are stiff but yielding, designed for movement and safety. I fasten the button and slide the zipper up. The sound is a short, low zip. I thread my belt through the loops, the leather worn soft from years of use, the buckle fastening with a metallic click. Next, the shirt. I button it from the bottom up. Each button slides through its hole with a slight resistance, locking the garment into place. I tuck the shirt in, ensuring the line is straight, the fit tailored. I sit on the edge of the bed to put on my socks. Thick wool, gray and cushioning. Then the boots. They are composite toe, black leather, polished to a dull shine. I slide my foot in, feeling the heel lock into the cup. I pull the laces tight, weaving them through the eyelets with practiced dexterity. Left cross over right. Pull, loop, knot. The pressure around my ankles is secure, a firm embrace that promises stability. I move to the kitchen. The linoleum is smooth. The refrigerator hums, a low, constant vibration that is the heartbeat of the house. I open the cabinet and take out the coffee grinder. It is a burr grinder, precise and adjustable. I measure the beans. 20 grams. I pour them into the hopper. The beans are dark and oily, smelling of roasted earth and chocolate. I press the button. The machine whirs. A consistent mechanical drone that pulverizes the beans into a uniform sand. I heat the water. I watch the kettle, waiting for the exact moment the water begins to boil. Then I let it sit for 30 seconds. Temperature is critical. Too hot and the coffee is bitter. Too cool and it is sour. I pour the water over the grounds in the French press. The water hits the coffee, and a bloom of foam rises, releasing a plume of steam that smells of warmth and alertness. I set a timer. 4 minutes. While it steeps, I pack my lunch. A rigid plastic container. A sandwich cut diagonally. An apple. A bottle of water. Everything has its place in the canvas bag. The timer chimes. I press the plunger down. The resistance is hydraulic, smooth and heavy. I pour the coffee into a travel mug, the black liquid swirling as it fills the stainless steel vessel. I screw the lid on tight. It locks with a final twist. I am fueled. I am dressed. I am ready. I pick up my keys and my wallet. I step out the front door and lock it behind me. The deadbolt slides home with a heavy thud, sealing the domestic world away. The air outside is crisp, carrying the scent of dew and damp asphalt. The sky is a deep, bruised indigo, the stars fading but still visible. The streetlights cast pools of orange sodium glow on the empty sidewalks. I walk to my car. The door handle is cold metal. I pull it, and the door opens with a solid creak. I slide into the driver's seat. The upholstery is firm. I insert the key and turn it. The engine catches immediately, settling into a low, steady idle. I check the mirrors. I check the gauges. Fuel is full. Oil pressure is normal. Temperature is rising. I engage the transmission and roll out of the driveway. The drive to the plant is 45 minutes. It is a meditation. The roads are empty ribbons of gray stretching out under the headlights. I keep the car at exactly the speed limit. The tires hum against the pavement, a white noise that clears the mind. I pass sleeping subdivisions, darkened storefronts, and fields where mist clings to the low ground. The heater fan blows softly, warming the cabin. I take a sip of coffee. It is hot, strong, and complex. As I leave the town behind, the landscape opens up. The road widens. I am approaching the exclusion zone. The trees here are dense, a buffer of nature surrounding the heart of industry. I crest a hill, and there it is. The station. It rises from the tree line like a fortress. The two cooling towers are massive silhouettes against the pre-dawn sky. their hourglass shapes perfect and imposing. A plume of pure white steam rises lazily from the top of the nearest tower, drifting upward to join the clouds. It is not smoke, it is water vapor, clean and harmless, the breath of the giant. Below the towers, the containment buildings are domes of reinforced concrete, pale and stoic. Floodlights illuminate the perimeter fences, creating a harsh, secure boundary between the wild woods and the controlled facility. I slow down as I approach the main access road. The asphalt here is perfectly maintained, smooth and black. I drive toward the first checkpoint. The red stop sign reflects my headlights. I bring the car to a complete halt. I roll down the window. The air here smells different, cleaner, sharper. Perhaps the scent of ozone, or just the absence of city dust. The security guard steps out of the booth. He wears a heavy vest and carries a flashlight. I know the routine. I hold up my identification badge. He shines his light on it, then on my face. He nods. It is a small, respectful gesture. He waves me through. I roll the window up and proceed. I navigate the winding road to the employee parking lot. It is a sea of asphalt, largely empty at this hour, though the cars of the night shift are still parked in neat rows. I find my spot. It is the same spot I use every day. I back in. I align the car perfectly between the white lines. I turn the ignition off. The engine dies, and silence rushes back into the cabin. I sit for a moment, listening to the ticking of the cooling metal. I take a breath. I am no longer a civilian. I am an operator. I grab my bag and my coffee. I step out of the car and close the door. The sound echoes slightly in the open space. I walk toward the main security building. The wind is stronger here, channeling between the massive structures. It pushes against my jacket, but I lean into it, my boots striking the pavement with a rhythmic cadence. Left, right, left, right. The entrance to the plant is a wall of glass and steel. I pull the heavy door open and step into the vestibule. The air inside is conditioned, filtered, and maintained at a constant 68 degrees. It smells of floor wax and electronics. I approach the turnstiles. This is the hard line. I reach for my lanyard. My badge is a hard plastic rectangle containing a microchip and a holographic photo. I hold it up to the black sensor pad. The reader flashes red, then green. A sharp electronic chirp sounds. I push against the metal bar of the turnstile. It rotates with a heavy, lubricated clunk, allowing me to pass through. I walk down the long corridor. The floor is polished terrazzo, speckled with gray and white chips. The lights overhead are fluorescent tubes, humming at a frequency just on the edge of hearing. I pass safety posters on the walls. Days without a lost time accident. 1412. The number is updated daily. It is a point of pride. It is a statistic that requires constant vigilance. I reach the locker room. I find my locker, number 304. I spin the combination dial. Right to 12, left to 38, right to 5. The lock disengages. I open the metal door. Inside, I place my car keys and my wallet. I take out my specific plant equipment. First, the dosimeter. It is a small gray box, about the size of a pager. It measures ionizing radiation. I check the screen. It reads 0.00. The battery indicator is full. I clip it onto the breast pocket of my shirt, ensuring it is secure. It is my constant companion, a silent guardian that watches the invisible world. Next, I grab my flashlight, a high-intensity LED model with a rubberized grip. I test it. The beam is tight and bright. I holster it on my belt. Finally, my radio. I turn it on. It beeps and crackles with static before settling into the quiet hum of the operations channel. I clip the microphone to my shoulder epaulette. I am fully equipped. I close the locker. I walk out of the locker room and toward the protected area access. Another badge scan. Another turnstile. Another heavy clunk. I enter the elevator. I press the button for the control room level. The doors slide shut with a pneumatic hiss. The elevator rises smoothly. There is no shaking, only a sensation of gentle pressure in the soles of my feet. The numbers above the door light up in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. The doors open. The atmosphere here is different. The air pressure is slightly higher than the rest of the building, designed to push air out rather than let it in. I step onto the sticky mat that captures any dust from my boots. I peel my feet off the adhesive surface and step onto the thick, anti-static carpet of the hallway. It muffles my footsteps. The silence here is profound. It is a heavy, expectant silence. I approach the blast doors of the main control room. They are thick steel, painted a calming beige. There is a small window of leaded glass. I look through. I see the night shift crew. They are sitting at the consoles, their postures relaxed but attentive. I swipe my badge one last time. The magnetic lock releases with a heavy thud. I push the door open and step inside. The control room is a cathedral of technology. It is vast, cool, and bathed in a soft, even light that casts no shadows. The walls are lined with panels, floor to ceiling, stretching out in a massive horseshoe shape. Thousands of switches, gauges, dials, and lights. It is a panorama of information. The background noise is a soothing, complex chord. It is the hum of cooling fans, the whir of hard drives, the distant vibration of the turbines transmitted through the very structure of the building. It is the sound of 600 megawatts of electrical power being generated, controlled, and distributed. I walk toward the central desk. The carpet feels plush under my boots. The smell here is distinct: warm electronics, ozone, and the faint, bitter scent of old coffee. The lighting is designed to reduce glare. The panels are a sea of soft green and amber lights. Green for closed, red for open, white for status. Everything is steady. Everything is stable. I approach Mark, the operator I am relieving. He is sitting in the high-backed ergonomic chair, his eyes scanning the reactor coolant system monitors. He sees me and rotates the chair. He looks tired. The subtle fatigue of the graveyard shift around his eyes, but he smiles. "Morning," he says softly. His voice is low, respecting the quiet of the room. "Morning," I reply. We begin the turnover. This is a sacred ritual. It is not just a greeting. It is the transfer of responsibility for the core. Mark stands up and hands me the turnover sheet. It is a clipboard with a checklist. We walk the boards together. We start at the left wing. Electrical distribution. We look at the voltage meters. 4,160 volts on the safety buses. The needles are steady, pinned exactly where they should be. We check the breaker flags. Green, green, red, green. All alignment is correct. We move to the center. The reactor control. This is the heart. I look at the digital displays, showing the average coolant temperature. 587 degrees Fahrenheit. I check the pressurizer level. 53%. I check the control rod positions. They are withdrawn, parked at the upper limit. The reactor is critical, operating at 100% power. It is a stable, self-sustaining reaction, held in perfect equilibrium by physics and engineering. We check the alarms. The annunciator panels are dark. No flashing lights. No lit tiles. This is what we call a black board. It is the ideal state. It means the plant is happy. It means the systems are functioning within their design parameters. We move to the right wing. The secondary system. The turbines and generators. I look at the vibration monitors. The turbines are spinning at 1,800 revolutions per minute. The vibration is negligible, a testament to the balance of the massive rotors. The generator output is steady, 620 megawatts. Mark points to a small note on the log. We are doing a surveillance test on the standby diesel generator later today, he says. The paperwork is prepped on the desk. I nod. I understand. Everything else is quiet, he says. Lake temperature is stable. Grid demand is rising slowly as the city wakes up, but automatic control is handling it fine. I take the clipboard from him. I sign my name at the bottom of the sheet, noting the time. 0600 hours. With the stroke of my pen, I accept custody. The plant is now mine. The safety of the public is now my burden and my privilege. Mark claps me on the shoulder. Have a good shift, he says. Go home. Sleep well, I reply. He gathers his bag and walks toward the exit. The heavy door opens and closes, sealing me in. I am alone at the console. I walk to the center of the horseshoe and sit in the chair. I adjust the height. I adjust the lumbar support. I place my coffee mug on the designated coaster, far away from any electronics. I place my radio on the desk. I take a deep breath, inhaling the conditioned air. I look out at the boards. Thousands of components, miles of wiring, millions of gallons of water moving through pipes. The energy of the atom, harnessed and tamed, flowing out through the transmission lines to wake up the world. I rest my hands on the desk. My fingers brush the smooth laminate. I look at the digital clock on the main panel. It flips to 0605. The room hums. The lights blink softly. The day has begun. I am the operator, and the watch is set. The chair is the first tool of the trade, and perhaps the most important. It is an ergonomic masterpiece, a high-backed mesh structure designed for 12-hour shifts. I settle into it, adjusting the lumbar support with a small ratcheting wheel on the side. The resistance is stiff, reassuring. I slide the seat forward until my knees are at a 90-degree angle, my feet flat on the anti-static carpet. The casters roll silently, a smooth glide that positions me perfectly in the center of the horseshoe. I am the reactor operator for Unit 2. Before me lies the control board. It is a sweeping curve of steel and plastic, a panoramic altar of instrumentation that wraps around my field of vision. It is colored a soft, industrial beige, designed to be easy on the eyes under the fluorescent lights. The board is not just a surface. It is a landscape of information. Hundreds of switches, dials, gauges, and digital displays are arranged in precise, logical groupings. The shift turnover is complete. The previous operator has walked out the heavy, soundproof door, leaving the silence to me. My morning flow begins with the board walkdown. Even though the electronic logs say everything is nominal, my eyes need to touch every sector. It is a ritual of ownership. I stand up, leaving the comfort of the chair, and move to the far left of the panel. I start with the electrical distribution section. My eyes trace the lines of the mimic bus, the painted black strips on the panel that represent the flow of massive amounts of electricity. I look at the breaker control switches. They are pistol grip handles, shaped like the handle of a heavy revolver, made of black bakelite. They feel cool and solid to the touch. Above each switch are two small indicator lights, red and green. In our plant, red means the breaker is closed and power is flowing. Green means it is open. It is the heartbeat of the grid. I verify the lineup. The main generator output breakers are red. The steady crimson glow is a promise of continuity. The reserve auxiliary transformers are green, sitting in standby, ready but resting. I nod to myself. The grid voltage is stable at 525 kilovolts. The needle on the analog gauge barely trembles. It is pinned to the center of the scale, locked in a magnetic dance with the demand of the city far away. I move a step to the right. The feedwater control system. This is the hydraulic muscle of the plant. Here, the switches are different. They are smaller, rectangular toggles with a satisfying snap when actuated. I check the flow controllers. They are set to automatic. The digital readouts glow in soft amber. Steam flow equals feed flow. The numbers match perfectly. 4.2 million pounds per mass per hour. The symmetry is pleasing. It means the water we are boiling away into steam is being replaced at the exact same rate. Equilibrium. I lean in closer to inspect a strip chart recorder. While most data is digital now, we still keep these paper recorders for trend monitoring. There is something deeply satisfying about the physical trace of ink on paper. A small pen holding a reservoir of blue ink hovers over a scrolling sheet of graph paper. The paper moves imperceptibly slow, inching forward millimeter by millimeter. The blue line it draws is ruler straight. No deviations, no spikes, just a continuous, unwavering testament to stability. I verify the ink level. It is full. Moving further right, I reach the reactor control section. This is the center of the horseshoe. The core. I check the rod position indicators. There are 53 control rod banks. The indicators are vertical columns of light, glowing orange bars that show exactly how far withdrawn the cadmium and silver rods are from the nuclear fuel. They are currently at 220 steps. Fully withdrawn, the reactor is running at 100% power. I sit back down. The physical inspection is done. Now the mental synchronization begins. I pull the keyboard closer. It is a mechanical keyboard, heavy and robust. I type in my credentials to unlock the digital logbook. The keys have a long travel and actuate with a muted, hollow thock sound. THOCK. It is a rhythmic percussion that punctuates the quiet of the control room. I enter the first entry of the morning. 0700 hours. Assumed the watch. Unit at 100% power. All parameters stable. I save the entry. The screen blinks once, confirming the record is locked in history forever. Now I enter the flow state. The job of a nuclear operator is 99% monitoring and 1% action. But the monitoring is active, not passive. I am not just watching, I am anticipating. I am scanning the screens in a specific pattern, a T-shaped scan that covers the most critical parameters: reactor power, pressurizer level, reactor coolant, average temperature. I notice a very slight trend. The reactor coolant average temperature has dropped by 0.1 degrees. It is the natural result of the fuel burning up, losing a tiny fraction of its potency as the hours tick by. As the uranium splits, the physics of the core change, requiring minute adjustments to keep the temperature perfectly flat. It is time for a dilution. This is a routine task, performed almost daily. We need to add pure water to the system to slightly lower the concentration of boron, which acts as a neutron absorber. By thinning out the boron, we let the reaction breathe a little easier, bringing the temperature back up to the target. I reach for the procedure binder. It lives in a dedicated slot on the desk. It is a 3-inch thick binder with a white spine. I pull it out, the plastic cover sliding smoothly against the desk surface. I open it to operating procedure 301. The rings snap open with a sharp metallic crack as I insert a placekeeping circle, then snap shut again. I read the step. Verify the makeup water flow controller is set to the desired rate. I look at the panel. I verify the controller is set to 10 gallons per minute. I read the next step. Set the batch integrator to the desired volume. I calculate the volume needed. 15 gallons should do it. I rotate the small thumb wheel on the counter. The numbers click into place with a tactile ratchet. Clicky, clicky, clicky. 1, 5, 0. I read the next step. Start the makeup pump. I place my hand on the switch. It is a rotary switch with a knurled black knob. I feel the ridges against my fingertips. I pause for a second, verifying the label above the switch matches the procedure in my mind. Makeup pump A. I turn the switch to the right. There is no roar of an engine, no shaking of the floor. The pump is far away, deep in the auxiliary building. But here, the indicators tell the story. The red light above the switch illuminates instantly. The flow gauge jumps from 0 to 10. The needle sweeps up smoothly, damped by oil, and settles on the line. I watch the batch counter count down. Clicky, clicky, clicky. 14 gallons remaining. I lean back, watching the digital readout of the reactor temperature. It is a slow process. The fresh water has to travel through hundreds of feet of stainless steel piping, mix with the primary coolant loop, and enter the reactor vessel. 10 gallons remaining. I pick up my coffee mug. It is a heavy ceramic vessel, insulated with a locking lid to prevent spills on the controls. I slide the tab open and take a sip. The coffee is lukewarm, exactly how I like it. It tastes of roasted beans and the clean, processed air of the control room. 5 gallons remaining. I watch the temperature readout. 585.6 degrees. 3 gallons. 585.7 degrees. 0 gallons. The pump automatically stops. The red light extinguishes. The green light glows. The flow needle drops back to 0. The silence remains unbroken. I wait. The water is mixing. 585.8 degrees. Perfect. The temperature is exactly on the reference line. The machine is happy. I log the action. 07:45. Added 15 gallons of primary water. TAVG restored to program. The rhythm of the morning settles in. Time behaves differently here because there are no windows, no changing sunlight, no traffic noise. The passage of time is measured only by the completion of tasks and the slow rotation of the digital clock on the wall. It is time for the sensor check. Every shift, we verify that the redundant channels of our instrumentation are reading within a tight tolerance of each other. We have 4 separate channels for everything. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. They vote on the truth. I pull up the comparison screen. Columns of numbers populate the monitor. Pressurizer pressure. Channel Alpha, 2,235 pounds per square inch. Channel Bravo, 2,234 pounds per square inch. Channel Charlie, 2,235 pounds per square inch. Channel Delta, 2,235 pounds per square inch. They are in harmony. I scan down the list. Steam generator levels, feedwater temperature, turbine impulse pressure. Line by line, I confirm that the 4 distinct brains of the plant agree on reality. My eyes move to the turbine vibration monitors. The main turbine is a massive machine, a shaft of steel weighing hundreds of tons, spinning at 1,800 revolutions per minute. It is located in the building next door, a cavernous hall of noise and heat. But here, it is represented by a series of small green bars on a screen. Vibration is measured in mils, thousandths of an inch. Bearing 1, 2 mils. Bearing 2, 1.5 mils. Bearing 3, 1.8 mils. The bars are low, deep in the green zone. The machine is spinning on a film of oil, perfectly balanced. I can almost feel the smoothness of it, the heavy, gyroscopic stability of that massive rotor spinning endlessly. It is a comforting thought. A light flashes on the communications panel. It is a call from the field. I pick up the handset. It is an old-school telephone receiver, beige and heavy, with a coiled cord. I press the button. "Control room operator," I say. My voice is low, calm. "Control, this is the auxiliary operator at the demineralizer station." A voice comes through. It is Miller. He sounds clear, the background noise of the plant filtered out by his noise-canceling headset. "Go ahead, Miller," I say. I am ready to perform the valve lineup for the resin transfer. I need you to verify the position of valve 804 on your board. This is three-way communication, a formal dance of words. "Copy, Miller," I reply, verifying position of valve 804. I stand up and walk to the waste processing panel on the far right of the horseshoe. I find the valve control. It is a small switch with a schematic line running through it. The green light is lit. The line on the schematic is perpendicular to the pipe flow, indicating a block. "Miller," I say into the handset. "Control room indication shows valve 804 is closed. Green light is on." "I copy," Miller replies. "Control room sees valve 804 closed. I am proceeding to open manual isolation valve downstream." "Copy. Proceed." I hang up the phone. The interaction was efficient, stripped of all unnecessary words. It is satisfying to know that Miller is out there, a mile of walking distance away, moving through the labyrinth of pipes and steel, acting as my hands in the field. We are coordinated, a single organism. I return to the center desk. The air conditioning hums, a white noise that wraps around me like a blanket. The lighting in the control room is indirect, bouncing off the acoustic tiles of the ceiling, creating a shadowless environment. It is designed to reduce glare on the glass faces of the gauges. I pick up a pen, a fine point, black ink gel pen. I open the paper narrative log, a hardbound book with numbered pages. Even with the digital logs, we keep a legal paper record. I write the date at the top of the page. The pen glides over the high-quality paper. The friction is pleasant. 0830 hours. Plant status stable. Resin transfer lineup in progress. My handwriting is block print, all capital letters. Uniform. Legible. Every letter touches the line. I check the electrical output again. 1250 megawatts. That number is abstract to most people, but to me, it is tangible. It is 1,000,000 toasters. It is the streetlights of the entire county. It is the hum of refrigerators and the glow of televisions in living rooms 50 miles away. I am pushing that energy down the wires. I am holding the pressure that makes it possible. I lean forward and adjust the focus on one of the secondary monitors. The screen sharpens. I bring up the core flux map. This is a visualization of the neutron activity inside the reactor. It looks like a topographical map, a grid of hexagons colored in shades of blue and red. The center is warmer, the edges cooler. I look for symmetry. The burn should be even. I see a perfect circle of activity. The axial offset, the difference between the power at the top of the core and the bottom, is -3%. Ideally, we want the power slightly towards the bottom of the core to stabilize the xenon gas distribution. -3 is perfect. It means the physics are locked in. I do not need to touch anything. This is the golden hour of the shift. The morning maintenance meetings are finished. The major evolutions are planned for later in the week. Right now, it is just the machine and me. I watch the seconds tick by on the digital clock. 0900, 0901. The silence is not empty. It is full of potential energy. It is the sound of 3,000 pounds per square inch of pressure being held in check by 3 inches of carbon steel. I perform a mental check of the safety systems. I look at the safety injection panel. 2 rows of switches, all in the auto position. All lights green. The accumulators, massive tanks of pressurized water, ready to flood the core in an emergency, are sitting at full pressure. 600 pounds per square inch. I verify the nitrogen cover pressure. It is steady. I take a deep breath. The air is cool, filtered, and dry. I reach for a microfiber cloth kept in the drawer. I gently wipe a smudge off the glass face of the main turbine speed indicator. I rub in small circles until the glass disappears, leaving only the needle floating in space. I check the delta T, the difference in temperature between the water entering the reactor and the water leaving it. Inlet temperature, 557 degrees. Outlet temperature, 621 degrees. Delta T, 64 degrees. That 64-degree rise is where all the energy comes from. It is the heat harvest. I feel a profound sense of competence. I know every wire, every pipe, every logic gate that leads to these numbers. If a needle were to twitch, I would know why before it even settled. If a pump were to cavitate, I would see the amperage fluctuate on the meter. But nothing twitches. Nothing fluctuates. The flow state deepens. I am not thinking about the grocery list or the weather outside. I am thinking about loop transit times and steam coefficients. The world outside the heavy blast doors ceases to exist. There is only the board. I check the condenser vacuum. 29 inches of mercury. A near-perfect vacuum, pulling the steam through the turbine blades, eager to turn it back into water. The efficiency is high today. The cooling water from the lake must be cold. I glance at the lake water temperature monitor. 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, cold water makes for a strong vacuum. Thermodynamics in action. I settle deeper into the mesh chair. The morning is passing in a blur of steady green lights and flat lines. It is boring, and it is magnificent. It is the boredom of a job well done. It is the quiet hum of a civilization powered by the splitting of atoms, managed by the gentle turn of a black bakelite switch. I check the time. It is already 10 o'clock. 2 hours have vanished. I pick up the logbook again. 1,000 hours. All parameters stable. The ink dries instantly. The line is straight. The flow continues. The digital clock on the main display wall silently shifts. It is 1,200 hours. The shift in time is not marked by a bell or a whistle. In the control room, the passage of time is measured only by the steady accumulation of data and the slow, predictable depletion of fuel rods deep beneath my feet. The morning has been a masterpiece of stability. The reactor is holding steady at 100% power, a perfect thermal equilibrium that requires no intervention, only observation. I lean back in my chair, the mesh fabric giving slightly under my weight. My spine aligns with the ergonomic curve of the backrest. I take a moment to stretch, extending my arms forward, interlacing my fingers, and pushing my palms away until I feel a pleasant tension release across my shoulders. It is time for the midday rotation. I hear the heavy, pressurized seal of the control room door disengage behind me. It is a specific sound, a pneumatic hiss followed by a solid mechanical thud. I do not turn around immediately. I finish typing the final entry of the morning log, my fingers moving rhythmically over the mechanical keys. Unit 2, status nominal, I type. Primary coolant flow stable. Turbine vibration within normal limits. I press the enter key with a definitive tap. Behind me, Sarah approaches. She is the relief operator for the lunch rotation. Her footsteps are soft on the anti-static flooring, a muffled cadence that blends with the low-frequency hum of the ventilation system. She steps up to the side of the horseshoe desk, placing her clipboard on the surface. I rotate my chair to face her. We do not need to speak loudly. The room is designed for clear, calm communication. All parameters are green, I say softly. I point to the primary display. Reactor power is 100%. The generator output is steady at 1,150 megawatts. I completed the control rod drive mechanism flush at 10:30. No anomalies. Sarah nods, her eyes scanning the bank of monitors. She is as methodical as I am. She checks the pressure readings. She checks the temperature gradients. She looks at the alarm panel, which is dark and silent, exactly as it should be. I have the desk, she says. Her voice is level. I stand up. The transition is smooth. I step away from the console, leaving the sphere of immediate responsibility in her capable hands. For the next hour, the heartbeat of the grid is hers to monitor. I walk toward the exit. The air in the control room is kept at a constant 68 degrees, cool and dry to protect the electronics. As I reach the door, I press the large square release button. The mechanism cycles. The door swings outward with a feeling of significant weight. I step into the corridor, and the door seals itself behind me, cutting off the view of the blinking lights and scrolling graphs. The corridor is brighter than the control room. The walls are painted a pale, industrial cream, interrupted only by safety placards and the occasional fire extinguisher. The floor is polished linoleum, buffed to a high shine that reflects the long tubes of fluorescent light overhead. I walk down the center of the hall, my boots making a rhythmic squeak click on the clean surface. This is the lull, the physiological shift from high alert monitoring to the restoration of the body. I reach the break room and swipe my identification badge against the black card reader. The light turns green with a small chirp, and the lock disengages. The break room is a sanctuary of a different kind. It smells faintly of coffee and toasted bread. One wall is dominated by a wide window that looks out not over the reactor containment building, but over the administrative parking lot and the dense forest that surrounds the exclusion zone. I walk to the lockers. The metal is cool to the touch. I dial the combination on my padlock. 3 turns right, 2 turns left, 1 turn right. The shackle pops open. I open the locker door and retrieve my lunch container. It is a heavy glass vessel with a locking plastic lid, contained within an insulated gray bag. I move to the kitchenette counter. It is a pristine surface of speckled gray laminate. I set the container down. I unzip the bag. The sound of the zipper is loud in the quiet room. Inside, I have packed a dense, hearty stew. It is cold now, a solid mass of roasted vegetables and broth. I unclip the 4 locking tabs of the glass container. Snap, 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 snap. I lift the lid. I place the glass vessel into the microwave. I press the time cook button, then the number 2, then 0, then 0. 2 minutes. I press start. The microwave begins its hum. It is a different frequency than the turbine generator. It is domestic, oscillating, familiar. I lean my hip against the counter and wait. I do not look at my phone. I do not look at a screen. I simply watch the glass plate rotate inside the machine. Round and round. The light inside illuminates the stew as it begins to warm. The broth liquefying, small bubbles beginning to form at the edges. While it heats, I retrieve a metal spoon from my bag. I run my thumb over the handle, feeling the smooth, polished steel. I take a paper napkin from the dispenser, folding it neatly into a triangle, then a smaller triangle. The microwave beeps. 3 short tones. I open the door. A cloud of steam rolls out, carrying the scent of rosemary, thyme, and beef broth. It is a rich, grounding smell. I use the edges of the napkin to grip the hot glass container, carefully lifting it out and carrying it to a small round table near the window. I sit down. The chair is simple, firm. I settle in. For the next 30 minutes, my world contracts to the square foot of space in front of me. I stir the stew. The spoon scrapes against the bottom of the glass bowl. A tactile vibration that travels up the handle to my fingers. The steam rises in a vertical column, twisting slightly in the air conditioning current. I take the first spoonful. It is hot. I blow on it gently. The liquid ripples. I place the spoon in my mouth. The warmth spreads instantly. It is savory and thick. I chew slowly, focusing entirely on the texture of the carrots, the tenderness of the meat, the resistance of the potatoes. This is fuel. Just as the reactor needs uranium pellets to generate heat, I need this caloric intake to maintain focus. I eat methodically. I do not rush. I take a spoonful. I lower the spoon. I look out the window. Outside, the sky is a piercing, cloudless blue. The sun is high. I can see the distant tree line, a wall of deep green pines. They are motionless. There is no wind today. From this angle, I cannot see the cooling towers, but I can see the transmission lines. The massive steel lattice towers march away toward the horizon, draped with heavy cables that carry the electricity we are generating right now. I follow the lines with my eyes. They dip and rise, dip and rise. It is satisfying to know that the soup I am eating, the light above my head, the coolness of the room, all of it is powered by the physics happening a few hundred yards away. I finish the stew. I scrape the last drop from the corner of the container. I stand up and walk to the sink. I rinse the container. The water rushes out of the faucet, clear and cold. I watch it swirl around the glass, washing away the remnants of the meal. I squirt a drop of soap onto a sponge. I scrub the glass until it squeaks under my fingers. I rinse it again. I dry it with a paper towel, wiping until no streaks remain. I pack the clean, empty container back into my bag. I place the bag back in the locker. The lock clicks shut. I have 20 minutes remaining in my break. I decide to brew a cup of tea. The process is a ritual. I select a tea bag from the communal box, Earl Grey. I fill the electric kettle at the sink. I set it on the base and flip the switch. The water begins to boil. a rising roar that starts as a whisper and grows to a turbulent bubble. Click. The switch flips off automatically. I pour the water into a ceramic mug. The dark tea bag swirls in the current, releasing ribbons of amber color into the clear water. I watch the diffusion. It is fluid dynamics on a micro scale. I let it steep. I carry the mug to the window and stand there. I place both hands around the warm ceramic, letting the heat seep into my palms. It is comforting. I look down at the parking lot. A maintenance truck drives slowly across the asphalt, its orange light flashing silently. It stops near the warehouse. A figure gets out, wearing a hard hat and a high-visibility vest. They walk with purpose, carrying a toolbox. Everyone here has a purpose. Everyone is moving within a procedure. I take a sip of the tea. It is tannic and bright, with a hint of bergamot. It clears the palate. I breathe in deeply, counting to 4. I hold the breath for 4 counts. I exhale for 4 counts. The reset is complete. The biological needs have been met. The mental cache has been cleared. I check my watch. It is 12:45. It is time to return. I wash the mug. I dry it. I place it upside down on the drying rack, aligned perfectly with the other mugs. I leave the break room. The walk back to the control room feels different than the walk away. It is more purposeful. I am re-engaging. The squeak of my boots on the floor is a cadence of return. I reach the heavy door. I press the button. The seal breaks. I step inside. The hum surrounds me again. The air is cooler here. The lights are dimmer, focused on the displays. Sarah is sitting in the chair. I approach the desk. I stand beside her. Status? I ask. She looks up. Stable, she says. No changes. I logged the hourly readings at 12:30. Generator output is constant. I nod. I will take the desk. She stands. I sit. The chair is still warm. I adjust the height slightly. I pull the keyboard closer. I place my hands on the desk surface. I scan the boards, left to right. Reactor vessel level, normal. Pressurizer level, normal. Steam generator pressure, normal. The green lights are solid. The digital readouts are steady. Sarah leaves. The door thuds shut. I am alone with the machine again. The early afternoon stretches out before me. This is often the quietest part of the shift. The morning maintenance meetings are over. The major surveillances are complete. The plant has settled into its midday rhythm. The demand on the grid is high, but steady, with the immediate monitoring requiring only my peripheral attention. I turn my focus to the secondary tasks, the organizational work that keeps the station running smoothly. I open the drawer to my right and pull out the physical logbook for the control rod drive mechanisms. While the digital logs are primary, the hard copy backup is a legal requirement and a failsafe. I open the book to the current date. The pages are thick, high-quality paper. I take my black ballpoint pen. I click the top. The tip extends. I begin to transcribe the calibration data from the morning's test. I write in block letters, ensuring that every character is legible and distinct. CRDM dash LPHA. I write the numbers carefully. 0.52. The scratching of the pen on the paper is a satisfying, gritty sound. It is permanent. There is no delete key here. Every entry must be perfect. If I make a mistake, I must draw a single line through it, initial it, and date it. I do not make mistakes. I work down the column. I verify each number against the digital record on the screen before committing it to the paper. It is a slow, dual verification process. Look at the screen. Memorize the value. Look at the paper. Write the value. 20 minutes pass in this meditative state of transcription. The logbook is neat, the columns aligned, the ink consistent. I close the book. The cover makes a soft thud. I place it back in the drawer. Next, I turn my attention to the alarm response procedure manuals. We are required to review a random section of the procedures weekly to ensure our knowledge remains fresh. It is a maintenance task for the mind. I pull the heavy binder from the shelf above the console. It is 3 inches thick, filled with plastic-sleeved pages. I open it to Section 4, Secondary Coolant Loop Anomalies. I read the text silently. Condition: loss of feedwater flow. Immediate action: verify reactor trip. Immediate action: verify turbine trip. Immediate action: verify auxiliary feedwater pumps start. I visualize the panel in front of me as I read. I look at the reactor trip switch. The handle is shaped like a pistol grip. I look at the turbine controls. I look at the auxiliary pump indicators. I trace the path my hand would take if this alarm were to sound. I practice the movement without touching the controls. My hand hovers, moving from point A to point B to point C. It is a rehearsal. Muscle memory is built in these quiet moments. I read the subsequent steps, the diagnostic logic, the flow charts. It is a logic puzzle where the pieces are pumps and valves and pressures. I follow the lines on the page, tracing the flow of water and steam. It all makes perfect sense. The system is designed with redundancy upon redundancy. I turn the page. The plastic sleeve crinkles softly. I continue reading for another 30 minutes. The control room remains quiet. The only sounds are the fans of the computer towers and the occasional click of a relay in the back panels. At 13:45, the phone on the console blinks. A silent light. I pick up the receiver. "Control room," I say. It is the maintenance supervisor, David. His voice is clear in the earpiece. "Afternoon," he says. "We are finishing up the preventative maintenance on the backup diesel generator air intake. We need you to clear the tag out." "Copy that," I say. I am pulling up the clearance order now. I cradle the phone against my shoulder and type the clearance number into the system. The schematic for the diesel generator building appears on my screen. I see the digital tags hanging on the intake fans. I see them, I say. "Clearance order 4492. You are clear of the equipment." "We are clear," David confirms. "Locks are off. Tools are stored." "Understood," I say. I am removing the tags from the system. I click on the first tag. Remove. I enter my password to authorize. The red icon on the screen turns to gray, then disappears. I do the same for the second tag. "Clearance is lifted," I say. "You are good to return the system to standby alignment." "Thanks," David says. "Have a good shift." I hang up the phone. I have one more task to complete for this interaction. I open the operations log. I type 1350 hours. Clearance order 4492 released. Diesel generator B intake maintenance complete. I press enter. The system timestamps the entry. The afternoon sun is shifting now. The light hitting the sensors outside is changing the angle of the shadows. Inside, nothing changes. The artificial light remains constant. The temperature remains constant. I lean forward and check the rod control master cylinder. I make a micro adjustment to the trim, tapping the insert key once. The system responds instantly. The rods move inward a fraction of an inch to compensate for the slight fuel burnup that has occurred over the last 4 hours. The reactor power display flickers from 100.01 to 100.00. Perfect alignment. I feel a profound sense of order. The plant is a massive, complex organism, but it is docile under this steady hand. There is no chaos here. There is only physics, procedure, and the quiet satisfaction of a job being done correctly. I take a sip from my water bottle. It is room temperature. I cap it. I look at the clock. 1400 hours. 2 in the afternoon. The lull is deepening. The digestion of lunch is complete, providing a steady stream of glucose to the brain. The caffeine from the tea is operating at peak efficiency, sharpening my focus without inducing jitters. I decide to organize the digital file directory for the shift turnover reports. Over the last month, A few files have been saved with inconsistent naming conventions. This is a small detail, but details matter. I open the file manager. I scroll through the list. Report 512. That is correct. Report 513 final. That is incorrect. I right-click the file. Rename. I delete the word final. I ensure the underscore is in the correct place. I press enter. The file snaps into chronological order with the others. I find another one. Shift log May 14. Incorrect. I rename it. Report 514. Enter. I work through the folder, correcting 5 or 6 inconsistencies. When I am done, the column of files is a perfect, uniform soldier line of data. Dates descending in perfect order. File sizes consistent. It is visually pleasing. It is optimized for retrieval. I close the window. The desktop is clean. I sit back again. I watch the main turbine vibration monitor. It draws a flat green line across the screen. It is hypnotic. It tells the story of a 20-ton metal shaft spinning at 1,800 revolutions per minute, balanced so perfectly that a coin could stand on its edge on the turbine casing. I am watching that balance. I am the guardian of that spin. The afternoon flows by. It is not a rush of water, but a slow, viscous movement of time. Productive, calm. I pick up a microfiber cloth from the drawer. I gently wipe the dust from the bezel of the primary monitor. I wipe the surface of the desk where my wrists rest. I wipe the number pad of the keyboard. Cleaning the workspace is part of the work. A clean console ensures no distractions. I put the cloth away. I check the quadrant power tilt ratio. It is 1.00. I check the pressurizer level, 53%. I check the containment pressure, 0.2 pounds per square inch. Everything is exactly where it belongs. I rest my hands on the armrests. I breathe in the filtered air. I listen to the silence that is not really silence, but the sum of 1,000 machines working in harmony. The break is over. The lunch is finished. The logs are updated, and the plant is humming. The afternoon lies ahead. A long, straight road of green lights and steady numbers. I am ready to drive. The artificial daylight of the control room remains constant. A steady, unblinking illumination that exists outside of time. However, my internal clock knows that the shift is drawing to a close. The rhythm of the room has shifted. The heavy, focused silence of the midday operations has softened into the anticipatory hum of the evening transition. I turn my attention to the final major task of the rotation, which is the verification of the secondary loop chemical feed rates. It is a precise, delicate process, a matter of ensuring the water chemistry remains perfect protect the steam generators. I pull up the trend data on the center monitor. The graph is a clean green line moving horizontally across the black grid, representing stability. I reach out to the control interface. My fingers find the smooth, cool surface of the trackball. I navigate the cursor to the injection flow setpoint. It requires a microscopic adjustment, a mere 0.1% increase to account for the slight temperature variance we logged 3 hours ago. I click the dialog box. I type the numbers using the keypad. Clicky, clicky, clicky. The system asks for confirmation. I pause. This is the operator's pause, the breath taken to verify intent before action. I look at the number I typed. I look at the current flow rate. I look at the procedure open on the left screen. They align perfectly. I press the Enter key. On the panel above, a small digital readout flickers once, then settles on the new value. The flow controller adjusts a valve somewhere deep in the plant's labyrinthine piping. A movement I cannot see, but can visualize with absolute clarity. A valve stem turning a fraction of a degree. Fluid dynamics responding instantly. The green line on my graph ticks upward, barely a pixel, and flattens out again. Perfect. With the active adjustments complete, I begin the process of closure. This is the consolidation of the day's labor. I open the digital logbook. The cursor blinks, waiting for the final entries. I type with a rhythmic, practiced cadence. 1,800 hours. Reactor power steady at 100%. Generator output 1,250 megawatts. Primary coolant system pressure stable. Secondary loop chemistry adjusted and verified. All annunciator panels clear. The words are simple, but they carry the weight of a 12-hour vigil. They are the proof of a safe, efficient day. I save the file. The progress bar fills instantly. A flash of blue, and the record is locked into the plant's permanent history. Now the physical cleanup begins. This is a ritual of respect for the incoming operator. I cannot leave a cluttered desk. The workspace must be a blank slate for the next mind that will inhabit this chair. I gather the 3 pens I have used throughout the day. I click the black ballpoint shut. I cap the red marker used for highlighting the procedure steps. I align them in the tray to the right of the keyboard, parallel to one another. I take a microfiber cloth from the dispenser. I spray a small amount of anti-static cleaner onto the fabric, not the screens. I wipe the 3 main monitors in front of me. The dust, invisible until disturbed, vanishes. The glass becomes a deep, flawless black, where it is not illuminated. I wipe the keyboard, running the cloth over the rows of keys, removing the oils from my fingertips. I wipe the smooth surface of the desk, sweeping from left to right, ensuring no crumbs, no dust, residue remains. The console is now pristine. It looks exactly as it did when I arrived in the pre-dawn hours. The circle is complete. I hear the heavy thud of the control room door opening behind me. It is the sound of the relief shift. I do not turn immediately. I finish aligning the mouse on its pad. Then I swivel my chair. Sarah is there, carrying her bag, looking rested and ready. She nods to me, a quiet gesture of camaraderie. She places her bag in the cubby by the door and walks over to the horseshoe, the central desk. We begin the turnover briefing. This is a sacred exchange of custody. I stand up, giving her the chair, but I remain close as we walk down the panels. I point to the chemical volume control system. I explain the adjustment I just made. She nods, repeating the values back to me to ensure understanding. We look at the core power map together. We look at the turbine vibration stats. Everything is nominal, I say. She scans the boards, her eyes moving with the same practiced pattern I used all day. She checks the alarms. She checks the clearance tags. She looks at me and offers a small smile. I have the watch, she says. I relieve you, I reply. The responsibility lifts from my shoulders. It is a physical sensation, a sudden lightness in the chest and neck. The reactor, the turbine, the millions of gallons of water, the heat, the power, it is all hers now. I am just a person again. I walk out of the horseshoe area. I head to the locker room, located just outside the main control envelope. The air here feels slightly different, less charged with the immediate focus of operations. I open my locker. The metal latch clicks. I remove my headset and hang it on its hook. I take off my badge, the lanyard slipping over my head. I place my personal dosimeter in its charging cradle. A small light turns green, confirming it is reading the data and recharging for tomorrow. I sit on the wooden bench to change my shoes. I unlace my work boots, the heavy, steel-toed safety footwear that has grounded me all day. I slide my feet out, wiggling my toes in my socks. I slip into my street shoes, which feel incredibly light, almost like slippers in comparison. I grab my jacket. I close the locker. The sound of the metal door shutting is the final period at the end of the work sentence. I navigate the corridors of the administration building. The floors are polished linoleum, reflecting the overhead lights. I pass the break room empty now, the coffee pot cleaned and drained. I pass the safety posters on the walls, the same ones I see every day, familiar landmarks on the journey to the exit. I reach the security checkpoint. The turnstile stands as the barrier between the secure world of the atom and the open world of the evening. I swipe my key card. The machine beeps a high, clear tone. The heavy metal bars unlock. I push through, the mechanism rotating with a solid, oiled smoothness. I push open the exterior door and step outside. The sensation is immediate. The air is cool, and smells of damp earth and distant pine, a stark contrast to the filtered, climate-controlled atmosphere of the plant. It is twilight. The sky is a gradient of deep indigo, fading into a soft, bruised purple at the horizon. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs with the natural air. I exhale slowly, letting the last tension of the shift flow out with the breath. I walk across the parking lot. The plant looms behind me, a massive silhouette against the darkening sky. The containment dome is a curve of concrete, solid and enduring. The cooling towers rise like cathedral spires, wisps of pure white steam drifting lazily from their tops, catching the last light of the hidden sun. They are silent giants, working tirelessly while I go to rest. My car is waiting in the row where I left it. The metal is cool to the touch. I unlock the door and slide into the driver's seat. The interior is familiar, a personal capsule. I toss my bag onto the passenger seat. I insert the key and turn it. The engine catches with a soft growl, a combustion engine that feels quaint and simple compared to the nuclear fire I have been tending. I do not turn on the radio. I prefer the quiet for the first part of the drive. I pull out of the lot, passing the final guard post. The guard waves. I wave back. The gate arm lifts, and I accelerate onto the access road. The drive home is a decompression chamber. The road winds through the buffer zone, a stretch of preserved forest that surrounds the facility. The trees are tall walls of shadow on either side. My headlights cut a cone of clarity through the dusk, illuminating the asphalt and the reflective markers that flash by in a hypnotic rhythm. Zip, zip, zip. I focus on the motion of the car, the steering wheel vibrating gently under my palms, the suspension absorbing the minor imperfections of the road. I am still in a mode of monitoring, but the stakes are low. I am monitoring speed, lane position, following distance. It is an easy, flowing task. I reach the highway and merge into the flow of traffic. It is light this late in the evening. I settle into the right lane, setting my cruise control to the speed limit. I am in no rush. The urgency of the day is gone. Now I turn on the radio. I keep the volume low. It is a classical station, a cello suite playing in a minor key. The deep, resonant notes of the instrument fill the cabin, matching the frequency of my tired body. The music washes over me, scrubbing away the technical jargon, the acronyms, the digital readouts. I watch the red taillights of the cars ahead of me. They are like embers, trailing into the distance. The world is slowing down. 20 minutes later, I exit the highway. The streets become narrower, the lights warmer. I drive through the suburbs, past houses with windows glowing yellow, glimpses of other lives unfolding in the evening. I turn into my driveway. The tires crunch softly on the pavement. I shift into park. I turn the key. The engine silence is sudden and absolute. I sit for a moment in the quiet car, listening to the ticking of the cooling engine block. I am home. I gather my things and walk to the front door. The key slides into the lock with a familiar scrape. I step inside. The house is still. The air is warm and smells of lavender and old wood. I lock the door behind me, engaging the deadbolt. The world is locked out. I drop my keys into the ceramic bowl on the entry table. Clatter. I take off my shoes, placing them on the mat. I walk into the kitchen in my socks, the hardwood floor smooth and solid beneath my feet. I pour a glass of water from the filter pitcher. The water is cold and clear. I drink it standing at the sink, looking out the window into the dark backyard. I can see the outline of the oak tree, the slight movement of leaves in the breeze. I finish the water, feeling it hydrate my system. I rinse the glass and place it in the rack. I move to the bathroom to wash away the day. I turn on the shower, adjusting the handle until the temperature is hot, steaming hot. I undress, placing my clothes in the hamper. I step into the spray. The water hits my shoulders, running down my back. It is a thermal release. I close my eyes and let the heat penetrate the muscles of my neck. The tension points where I hold the responsibility of the control room. I scrub with a bar of soap that smells of oatmeal and honey. I wash my hair, massaging the scalp. The water swirls down the drain, taking with it the phantom sensation of the headset, the dry, recycled air, the mental fatigue. I turn off the water. The pipes shudder once and go silent. I towel off, the fabric rough and absorbent. I put on loose, soft cotton pajamas. The fabric feels kind against my skin, unrestricted and comfortable. I walk to the bedroom. The room is cool, the blackout curtains drawn tight. The bed is waiting. I pull back the duvet. The sheets are crisp and cool. I slide in, the mattress accepting my weight, contouring to support my spine. I pull the heavy blanket up to my chin. The weight of it is grounding, a heavy, comforting pressure that signals safety to my nervous system. I lie on my back, staring up at the dark ceiling. I let my body go limp. I perform a mental scan, starting at my toes. I relax my feet. I relax my ankles. I let my calves sink into the mattress. I release the tension in my thighs. My hips settle. My stomach rises and falls with slow, deep breaths. I relax my hands, my fingers curling naturally. I drop my shoulders away from my ears. I unclench my jaw. I smooth the skin of my forehead. My mind drifts back to the plant, one last time, but not with worry. I see the green lines on the black screens. I see the steady glow of the indicator lights. I see Sarah in the chair, capable and watchful. The machine is humming. The reaction is controlled. The power is flowing out to the grid, lighting the lamps in the houses I passed, keeping the world running in the dark. It is done. The work is finished. My breathing slows. The rhythm of the day, the checklists, the clicks, the hum fades into a soft, white noise. The darkness of the room wraps around me like a velvet coat. I am heavy. I am warm. I am at peace. The thoughts fragment and dissolve. The transition is seamless. From the focused operator to the resting sleeper. Drifting, floating, sinking. Sleep takes me.